Welcome to Wellness Rebranded.
We know there is so much conflicting health and fitness advice out there.
And you're tired of the wellness fads, endless diets, and impossible standards that make you feel like nothing you do is ever enough.
You're ready to tune into your mind and body and feel empowered around health.
We're the healing trio here to help you redesign your relationships with food, fitness, and yourself.
I'm Elizabeth, registered dietitian and certified intuitive eating counselor.
I'm Maria, licensed mental health therapist.
And I'm Tara, personal trainer.
Together, we're changing the narrative on health away from diet culture, hustle culture, and toxic positivity and towards healthful self-care.
So grab your water bottle, get ready to laugh, learn, and grow, and let's start rebranding your wellness journey.
Hey guys, so I just came back from the coolest conference and I want to talk about the future of food and what it means for how we nourish our bodies today. So this conference, I want you to imagine 3,000 different brands, 5 convention halls attached, and about 75,000 people.
Oh my
from
gosh.
all walks of life in the food industry. Everything from retail buyers to brand founders to manufacturers to packaging, ingredient people. Like if you are talking about the food system or food, they probably were in this room. And it is the reason for this conference. It's called Expo West or Natural Products Expo. Is that primarily brands go there when they have new products that they want to introduce to the public. So you get a glimpse of what's coming down, like what you're going to see on the grocery store shelves.
That's
soon.
intriguing.
That's not there yet.
Wait, do they have food samples?
Oh, it's my first time going. The first morning, it was in California. I was only there for 2.5 days. So I made a decision beforehand that like, I'm not even going to try to acclimate to California time. I'm just going to keep myself on my regular Maryland time, which means you guys know I'm an early riser. Oh. I was up at like 2:30 in the morning one day. And so by 5 a.m., 6 a.m., I was hungry.
Starving.
Right. So I ordered a big, was like a 3-egg omelet and whatever else came with it. I had this huge breakfast and then I walk over, I'm like the early bird at the expo because I've been up forever at this point.
Right.
And I walk in and like right off the bat, everyone like, try this, try that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea I was going to be doing so much eating here. And
Sounds like I need to go to this thing.
I was going to say, can I go
love a
just
good
for
snack.
the food? I mean, to sample?
Yeah.
It's like a huge Costco trip.
So it was really fascinating for me to be there. And I got some intel, guys, what's going to be on the grocery store shelves soon. So I'm just going to share a few fun things with you. And then I want to talk about some big trends that I noticed and my takeaway from them. So just fun things. I shared this morning, I put just a tiny little teaser about this in my email newsletter, which if you're not on it, please sign up. I just revamped the whole thing. They're super fun and cool. And I would love for you to join. Go to my website and join, and I'll put the link in the show notes. But I digress. Dates are having a moment. There was so many date products out there that just was shocking to me.
I love a good date.
There's a company called Julie's, Joolies, and they already have lots of existing snacks, but they have these new snacks coming out that are dates dusted in, I don't think it's fruit sugar because there's no added sugar in these dates. But anyway, the point is these dates, they're called sour dates and they taste like sour candies, but they're just dates and they're delicious.
Kids might love that.
And they come in all these fun flavors. So what a great, pretty nourishing snack.
Yeah.
But dates were just in so many different products.
Julie's, if you're listening, please sponsor the podcast.
Yeah, right. So lots of fun date things coming down the pike. There was coconut water everywhere. I don't know what it is about coconut water.
I feel like that's been having a moment for a decade.
Trust me, it's going to get bigger. It's about to explode.
I mean, I actually like coconut water and I think it's good for hydrating, don't you? Mm-hmm. Elizabeth, this is your realm, but I like it.
If you like it. Mushrooms, specifically functional mushrooms in so many different products, which was interesting to me.
Yeah.
I'll think of some of the other more fun ones while we're talking. But so that's some of what I saw.
Do you think that's a product of that documentary that came out about how healing mushrooms are and how people should be eating mushrooms all the time? And so now like the food industry is kind of following that popularity?
Interesting. I'm not sure because I don't know about that documentary, but I mean, it would make sense.
Yeah.
I think it's partly functional. Food with functional properties is definitely something that I feel like as consumers are trending more towards paying attention to ingredients and health and different things, I feel like the functional food category itself is burgeoning. So that's partly maybe why.
You know what's so interesting too is I was at the farmer's market last summer and there was like a mushroom farmer there. And I was like, oh, I've heard of all these mushrooms because I watched the mushroom documentary last year. And I had never seen anything outside of like the normal, like white portobellos, you know, like that kind of stuff.
Not shiitake. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, like shiitake. Like it was just like normal mushrooms. And this lady was selling all of these like weird ones.
Yeah, mushrooms are cool.
Yes. And I was like, oh, I'm going to buy these lion's mane ones and this one and this one. And she was like, are you familiar with mushrooms? You should not just dive in like this. And she ended up like scaring me away from buying most of her mushrooms. Like I got one that I hadn't heard of before and the rest were like normal ones. But whatever, that's not the point of today's episode, but it was just interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Also, modern convenience, not modern convenience, like nourishing convenience, I feel like is really coming. So there's these cool, I'm like a little bit obsessed with these things to tell you the truth. They're called Lentiful. And you know those soup cups you add water, there's oatmeal cups you add water.
Yeah.
These are cups of lentils, but like delicious, marinated, spiced lentils.
Love that.
And by the way, if anyone out there struggles with lunch, which I know so many people do, these are shelf stable, high protein, high plant-based protein, high fiber. They taste yummy. You can keep them in your desk, add hot water, and like, bam, that's a pretty decent lunch.
Love that.
Have that with an apple, you're good. So
I take like those little rice cups and I do the same thing, but they're not high in protein or particularly high in fiber. So I love this option.
So that was like a good example of one of those. There was a company, Blue Zones Kitchens, makes these really good frozen meals that are plant forward, nutrient dense, like just really delicious. So I feel like I just saw a lot of new options in convenience products that are also really nutrient dense with ingredients that got me excited about them. So
love that.
So those are just like some fun trends. But I noticed 3 big trends and really wanted to share some takeaways about them. So the first thing was protein and fiber are in everything. And this isn't necessarily new, but I feel like it's even getting bigger than ever. I mean, obviously protein's been, having a moment for a while, but fiber is still in like up and coming. There's lots of, attention to it. So I'm here for both of those things. Like obviously we need protein, right? To build lean muscle mass. It helps your immune system function properly. It helps support energy and satiety. Like there's lots of great reasons to have protein forward or protein rich meals to get plenty of protein. Fiber, the vast majority of Americans are glaringly deficient on fiber. Did we do an episode on fiber maxing?
We did.
Yeah. People should go listen to it for my more complete thoughts on that. But many, many people are glaringly deficient in fiber. So the fact that there's a spotlight on it makes me happy. However,
thinking about launching a podcast or taking yours to the next level? Juliana Barbati and her team are the experts you need. They take care of everything from episode funnel design to production and marketing, so you can focus on creating content that connects. Check out julianabarbati.com and mention that we sent you.
And you guys know, I want to preface this by saying I'm not anti any foods, really. I truly believe that there's a place for all foods in a health promoting diet. But from my perspective, rather than companies stuffing it into everything, like I saw, it's in ice cream, everything from ice cream to chips to pretzels to maybe more logical places to find those things. I would so much rather encourage people to get it from nutrient dense whole foods.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be complicated. Like I like to teach people that protein, carbs, produce, and a dash of healthy fats. And if you want to know how to do that in a way that's really simple, really positive, and really practical, please reach out. I would love to have a session with you. It may be covered by insurance and you might not have to pay a dime out of pocket to do so. The second trend that I noticed, functional beverages are exploding. So like we touched on it a little bit, but specifically beverages, like there are so many functional beverages. A functional food or a functional beverage is a food or a beverage that has health benefits above and beyond the actual nutrients in the food or the beverage. So it has benefits above and beyond simple hydration, or it claims to.
So it's like a beverage that has been like hyped up.
Well,
Like kombucha.
yeah. Yeah. So things like functional mushrooms can have functional properties. There are tons of beverages with mushrooms in them. Electrolyte beverages, so many electrolyte beverages, collagen drinks, non-alcoholic wellness beverages. And you'll see everything promised. Like, I think you're really going to start to notice this in the grocery stores. Everything from more calm, better energy, more immunity, promotes better sleep, like you name it, right? These are the products that are exploding.
So, Elizabeth, do they work?
Well, I was just getting ready to say there may be a place for some of those. I mean, it depends what's in it, right? I mean, it would be probably my answer would be very individual, depending on which drink, what's in it, what they're claiming. I think there may be a place for some of those sometimes. And
like,
also,
for example, I'm intrigued by the concept of like collagen water, whatever you said. Like, could you really drink collagen in your water and have like, you know, tighter skin and less
Good
injuries?
nails.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're getting the collagen, right?
Yeah.
Now, I think collagen is one of those things that has a lot of hype around it. You'll hear a lot of things that there are some things that it is genuinely useful for, but then I think that the hype around it is also more than is supported by the science for some of the things.
It too has a good publicist.
Right. So, but the reality is, to answer your question, and in my perspective, is, you know, most of the things that people are searching for from products like that, you can also get from the basics, like doing the basic, implementing basic health habits consistently. Do you need a functional beverage? In my opinion, no. Most people in most scenarios, probably not, especially if you are well hydrated and you have a well balanced, varied diet and, you know, you are getting plenty of sleep. And that just struck me as, you know, I think the basics can have such a bigger impact than like the sexy new trends or new marketing or new thing.
Totally. That's interesting too, that functional beverage is such a moment, because I feel like I have friends who are like, oh, I don't drink alcohol anymore, but they're looking for like drinks that have like adaptogens in it.
Yeah.
And they're
I
like,
think
oh
that's
yeah,
partly
this feels
why
good.
Functional beverages, because there is like a much more sober, curious, non-alcohol trend of not drinking, right? Now that, especially now that the new Surgeon General guidelines say there's no safe level of alcohol.
Yeah.
So I think just as like a general overall or bigger lesson there is, if you feel yourself getting pulled into the trends, right? The wellness trends, is just, I invite you to pause and sit back and just check in on like, how are you doing the basics? And if your answer is like, oh, I don't, not maybe as well as I wish, then like start there. It's probably more impactful and effective. And then the third trend that I will point out is the seed oil versus tallow debate was like so evident on the expo floor. And I gave this in a talk yesterday and a lot of people were like, wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm going to back up.
Wait, what? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. Okay. So seed oil, seed oils are oils that are literally pressed from seeds, like peanut oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, canola oil, rapeseed oil. And there is a huge movement out there that is hating on seed oils. They'll tell you that they increase inflammation and there are all these terrible negative health effects of them. And so a lot of people ask me all the times about seed oils. And I'm going to finish the thought on that for a second. But first, I want to go back to like the seed oil versus beef tallow thing. So regardless of what you think of it, you could really see the MAHA influence, which is Make America Healthy Again, and RFK Jr. and the all of that.
Yes.
You could really see the influence, because on the flip side, so on the one hand, there's all these companies like touting our products are made without seed oils and really marketing and capitalizing on the fear around that. And then there's all these other companies that are promoting this product is made with beef tallow because there's a whole push in the MAHA movement, and the new dietary guidelines specifically mention beef tallow, and that food pyramid that's now upside down and back to a pyramid, like it puts that at the top. And so it's very, very confusing.
Hey everyone, we want to give a shout out to the amazing photographer Casey Bossy. She's a maternity and newborn photographer based right here in Maryland, and she does incredible work from the comfort of your own home. Her sessions combine the cozy, relaxed feeling of being at home with the polished look of a professional's photo shoot. That means you get high-quality photos without the stress of packing everything up and taking a newborn out of the house. We've actually worked with Casey ourselves. She's the one who took these amazing podcast cover photos that you see, and we can honestly say that she is a joy to work with. She's professional, talented, thoughtful, and makes the whole experience feel easy and comfortable. If you're expecting, or if you've recently welcomed a new baby, this is such a special way to capture those early moments. Check out her work at CaseyElainePhotos.com, and we'll also include a link in the show notes.
And from my perspective as a dietitian, what you need to know is that seed oils are primarily unsaturated fats. Those are the fats that we consider to be heart healthy and linked with less inflammation, and the ones that I recommend most often as a dietitian. Beef tallow is a saturated fat. And even though the dietary guidelines now kind of put a spotlight on beef tallow, the guidance that saturated fats should not make up more than 10% of your diet is the same. It's just confusing because they're kind of pushing it on the one hand, and then it also says below 10%. And now food manufacturers are making things with beef tallow and really touting it. And so I just think it's confusing.
Yeah.
But it just struck me of food has always been political, but I think even more in the current environment, we can really see the political influence on food and how it's being marketed. So that was interesting to me.
They're even making like facial moisturizers and different kind of stuff with beef tallow.
Just the idea of rubbing like cow fat on my face grosses me out.
Well, but it's all over social media. They're talking about this beef tallow and how it's so good for you and da-da-da.
Yeah. So what it made me think of is that it's not in any way new. I mean, in fact, it's generally what our whole podcast is about, that there's tons of noise and confusion and misinformation in the nutrition space. Thanks also to diet culture. But there's also more food choices than ever before, and companies really also capitalizing on people's interest in wanting healthier food options and less processed. And like, that's, of course, like I'm here for more nourishing, nutrient dense foods, but it just made me realize why so many people are so confused. And I talk to the people all day, every day. And so I know and I understand it. And so what I was thinking about when I was there is something I'm sure I've said a million times on the podcast, which is like, no one ingredient or one food has the power to make or break your health unless you have a life-threatening allergy or some other very specific medical condition that I can't even think of what that would be. But like, I would encourage everyone to zoom out, because the truth is what and how you eat most often matters most. And so I just wanted to leave people with that message. But one other trend that comes to mind, there was a really big emphasis. And in fact, I went to a really interesting and awesome and thoughtful and memorable luncheon with a company called Yerba Mate.
Whoa.
Who makes...
I know Yerba Mate.
Yeah.
Hype that thing up.
It's from South America. I mean, it was really a cool luncheon, but a big topic of it was the regenerative farming that they do. And they had a really interesting, brought people in to educate us on regenerative farming.
Love that.
And sustainable agriculture. And it was really fascinating. And, they shared how there's kind of all these studies coming out showing that foods that are regeneratively farmed are more nutrient dense. And if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because regenerative farming is about really taking care of the soil and the land and doing it in this very holistic way. And of course, healthier soil is going to make healthier,
more nutrient dense food.
Make more nutrient dense food, which is then going to support people's nutrition. So that was like, as someone who like really geeks out on nutrition science, I just love thinking about that. It's cool.
I love that too. Like years ago, I was teaching a health class at our local community college, and part of the curriculum was talking about how so many Americans are like vitamin and mineral specifically deficient. And it's not necessarily because we're not eating the right foods, which we now know we're not eating the right foods, but also because so many of our foods are grown with like conventional farming methods, and different plants require different minerals in the soil. So unless they're like constantly treating the soil, there's not a chance for it to regenerate. So that is why it makes more sense to like rotate crops and, have tomatoes pull out all the vitamin A out and broccoli pulls all the vitamin whatever out.
And for such a long time, I think we got away from that in our farming.
Yes.
Especially as farms like would specialize in one crop, right?
Totally.
And then, So I've always thought that was fascinating and interesting.
Same.
It definitely inspired me to even go deeper with it and just learning about it. And have you ever seen that movie? I think it's called Big Little Farm.
I love this movie, The Biggest Little Farm.
Is that it's called The Biggest Little Farm?
I actually like rewatch that pretty
Really?
Not frequently, but
My
like
husband and I talk
periodically.
about that movie all the time. Like, it's just a very cool story
Yes,
that
we do
has,
too.
like, if you're wondering what regenerative farming is, I feel like that gives you a flavor for understanding it.
So let me just give the listeners like a little gist of this. Is this couple adopted a dog who barked a lot, so they had to move from their apartment. Like, true story.
I didn't remember that origin.
Yeah. So they were in like LA and they adopted a dog that barked a lot, and they were like, he deserves a whole farm. And so they literally went and bought this chunk of land out in the desert. Not a real desert, but
It was in California,
California desert, right? And turned it into this like thriving farm. And every time they would have something terrible happen, like, oh my God, there's snails eating our orchard, like we're not getting any fruit because all these snails. They're like, well, let's release ducks into the orchard to eat all the snails. So like they managed their farm through like natural methods, and their farm was like absolutely thriving after a period of years when all the farms around them were like, we're in like water scarcity and there's no biodiversity here and there's no like ecodiversity. Like there was this whole thing. So super interesting little documentary. I love it, and I think you should go watch it. But that's what Elizabeth was talking about. So sorry, I went on like a little tangent there.
Yeah, no, I love it. It's inspiring me to want to watch the movie again.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's like a little like fun peek behind the food curtain.
How interesting.
It was cool. I'm definitely going next year. Like it was, I loved it. I thought it was really interesting and really fascinating. And I also just got to connect with so many fun brands and like talk to so many founders and hear their stories. There was another one, it's called Simply, and they make beans and grains. Like, hello, I'm here for that. I love that. And their story was so cool, and it was just really fun.
So I'm actually going to try to grow black beans this year in my garden.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll keep you
I've
posted.
never tried to grow. I've grown green beans. I've never tried to grow any other types of beans now, but now I want to try.
Yeah, I'm going to try. I'll keep you posted on how it goes.
Interesting. And then we'll bring Maria a little cup of dirt.
Let her play in it.
Yeah.
Ladies, let me direct you to a couple different episodes that are kind of related to what we talked about today. So if you enjoyed this, I would highly recommend going to check out episode 133, which is all about protein and if we are getting enough, if we need more, how to get more in, all the things. Episode 139 is about rethinking your relationship with alcohol. And episode 168 is all about fiber maxing. So, touching a little bit on all the things Elizabeth mentioned today.
Yeah, check them out.
Thank you for listening. If you want to connect with me outside of this podcast, you can find me on Instagram at coaching_therapist.
I'm Elizabeth. You can find me at Elizabeth Harris Nutrition or in my Facebook group, Health and Healing with Intuitive Eating.
And I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Tara DeLeon Fitness. Guys, if you loved this episode or any of our other episodes, we would love it if you would leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really, really helps us get the non-diet word out to the rest of the world. So please leave us a review.
Yes, thank you.